Hey there, my name's Dr. Susan Plank, and it is just great to have you here. I have a little video I'm going to be sharing with you, and it's understanding Hashimoto's. So I have a feeling you want to tune in. I'll try to keep it short, but if you just got diagnosed with Hashimoto's, or maybe it's been a while, I want you to really understand Hashimoto's, and it's not just a hormonal problem. So let me share my screen here. And so what we have is in the thyroid gland hormone, the thyroid hormones, T4 and T3, are made in the thyroid gland. Okay, so think of it like we're in the kitchen and we're making a recipe, but we're in the thyroid gland and we're going to make ourselves some T4 and T3 to hopefully, right, get the gut moving, have more energy, hair stop falling out, right? All those wonderful things. No cold hands and feet, but we need selenium, we need iodine, and we need tyrosine. And we need it in the thyroid gland. Okay. So what happens then is the thyroid makes thyroid hormone. T4 has 4 iodine molecules, T3, 3 iodine molecules, because one is cleaved off, okay, of the T4, which makes it T3. And then these are transported through the bloodstream to get to the receptors. And thyroid is the one hormone that has virtually receptors on every single cell in the body. That's how important it is to have sufficient amounts of thyroid hormone. The issue, though, becomes that Hashimoto's is not necessarily a hormone production problem. The problem tends to be inflammation. Hashimoto's is an autoimmune disorder, and every single autoimmune disorder has inflammation at its root cause. So the deep dive, what should happen is you might get a diagnosis, right? You might have the blood work done, comes back positive for Hashimoto's antibodies. The next thing that should be done is to find the cause of the inflammation. It shouldn't be getting a script for the medication. It find the cause of the inflammation, not the script for the medication for the thyroid, because Hashimoto's is an inflammatory condition. So what we have then is we have the selenium, iodine, and tyrosine here in the thyroid gland, but now we have the inflammation has been triggered, and that's all the little red dots. Inflammation is attacking the thyroid gland. So again, your kitchen, where we're making a recipe and the kitchen's under assault, right? The kids are running in, give me this, give me that, right? It's craziness in there. Well, this is inflammation. It's attacking your thyroid gland, but that doesn't necessarily mean that your thyroid still can't make thyroid hormone, but it can't do it very efficiently. But unfortunately, in this country, nobody looks at it as it's an inflammatory condition. They just turn around and write you a script and you start taking thyroid hormone. And yet the reality of it is potentially if we find out what's causing the inflammation that's affecting your thyroid's ability to make the hormone, that now your thyroid can actually go back to make more hormone. But when you're put on medication, the longer you're on the medication, it's virtually impossible now to reverse and get you away from the medication because your body just wants the medication, right? We've now we've short-circuited something just by giving the hormone instead of finding the cause of the inflammation. Okay, so potentially your body could still make the hormones and the hormones could still travel through the bloodstream and make it to the receptor, but it's not as efficient as it was because a thyroid is under attack. So it can't make thyroid T4 as efficiently T3 as it did. Now, another thing in Hashimoto's is maybe, right? Maybe the thyroid isn't affected and it makes the hormones and the hormones go through the bloodstream, and yet the inflammation's on the receptors. Okay, so now inflammation on a receptor is going to change the shape of the receptor. And the hormone should come in. It's like a little docking thing, right? The hormone comes in and it sits like a little docking on the receptor. But that inflammation is now changing the shape of the receptor. So now the hormone comes along and it doesn't fit in there. It doesn't make good contact. So it can't share the message. That's what's happening with any hormone in our body. It goes to a receptor and it's giving a message. It's telling those cells what to do. Okay. So right now, then, the thyroid gland is sending out the hormone. It's going to, once it docks on the receptor of the cells, it's going to tell that receptor to tell the cell, hey, speed up, right? Constipation needs to go away. The person needs more energy. The person has cold hands, right? The person's hair is thinning. We need to speed the metabolism up. So this is another way where obviously more hormone is not going to change the inflammation on the receptors. So getting a script for Synthroid, right? Levothyroxine, Armour thyroid even, it's not the problem. Your body's making it, but now the receptors are unhealthy. So we have two mechanisms. One is it's attacking the thyroid, and the thyroid can at least initially still continue to make, right? It can still continue to make thyroid hormone. It just maybe is inefficient, and it'll definitely become inefficient the longer the inflammation goes on. But if you have Hashimoto's, has anybody ever talked to you about finding the cause of the inflammation? Chances are no. Okay. So it's either in the thyroid or on the receptors, but either way, it's now inefficient. So unfortunately, just getting the script for the hormone, it might make you feel better initially, but then that sort of plateaus off, because if it's not a hormone problem, now it's going to be very hard to regulate it because it's actually an inflammation problem. Does this make sense? I hope so. It's very, very important. Okay. So ideally, then you can have it where it's affecting the thyroid and now it's affecting the receptors. Because this is the sneaky thing with inflammation and chronic inflammation. Short-term inflammation is good. That's what we want. But chronic inflammation, it just keeps charging. It just keeps destroying. It just keeps going. It's destroying the thyroid gland, right? It's destroying the receptors. Well, I want you to imagine, folks, imagine how long that inflammation has to be going on in there when every cell of your body has receptors on it for thyroid. Imagine how much destruction, how long that destruction is going on before it was identified. And yet, with a Hashimoto's diagnosis, we know that the inflammation is ongoing. And if you just get the medication, a script for the medication, for the Synthroid, nothing has been done to change the inflammation. It's still going to keep destroying what it's destroying. The earlier you can catch it, the earlier you get the diagnosis of Hashimoto's, that's when you need to reach out to like a functional nutritionist like me and say, hey, can you help me find the cause of the inflammation? Because chances are you might not need that script yet. Hopefully you don't need it at all, right? But we need time as of the essence. The longer inflammation goes on, the more destruction it's going to do. Okay, so the goal with Hashimoto's, just like any other autoimmune disorder, is to find out what is causing the inflammation. Okay, I have another video coming up real soon that will help you understand and get to the bottom of what is inflammation. If you have Hashimoto's, you should definitely watch that video. What is inflammation? It'll really key you in to how you can start to get this under control, rather than just sort of assume that you actually need the medication and you have to take it the rest of your life. Okay. All right. This is Dr. Susan Plank. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you stopping by. Check out some other videos. Okay. Take care now. Bye.